From Pacifica, this is Democracy Now!
This death was caused by their brutality, by the fact that they're using tear gas that was banned in Europe in the 60s and 70s because it is lethal. But here on Palestinians, they continue using it.
A Palestinian woman dies after Israeli forces fire tear gas during a peaceful protest against the West Bank separation wall. We'll speak with an Israeli doctor and an activist who was there. Then political crisis in the Ivory Coast as the incumbent president, Laurent Gbagbo, remains defiant.
Let's not kid ourselves. Let's not let ourselves be abused by words. It's about an attempted coup d'etat brought in under the banner of international community.
Longtime opposition leader Alassane Ouattara, who has the backing of the international community, says he's the winner. We'll host a discussion. All that and more coming up. Welcome to Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, The War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman. A prominent Pakistani governor has been assassinated in the capital of Islamabad. Salman Taseer was reportedly shot dead earlier today by a member of his own security detail. Taseer was the governor of Punjab, which is widely considered the most politically important province of Pakistan. Taseer recently became embroiled in controversy after he spoke out against the country's Islamic blasphemy law. In November, a Pakistani Christian woman was sentenced to death after being found guilty of defaming the Prophet Muhammad. In one of his last posts on Twitter, Taseer wrote, "I was under huge pressure to cow down before rightist pressure on blasphemy, refused even if I'm the last man standing." In news from Capitol Hill, Republican Congressman Darrell Issa has asked the oil industry, drug manufacturers, healthcare providers and telecom firms to tell him which government regulations he should target this year as the new chair of the House Oversight and Government Reform Committee. According to Politico, the California Republican has sent letters to more than 150 trade associations, companies and think tanks last month requesting a list of existing and proposed regulations that would harm job growth. At least two recipients of Issa's letter, the National Association of Manufacturers and the National Petrochemical and Refiners Association, complained about new EPA greenhouse gas controls for major emitters that went into effect Sunday. Meanwhile, the new House Republican leadership has announced a vote will be held a week from Wednesday to repeal the entire health care reform law passed last year. With 242 Republicans in the House, the measure is expected to pass, but Senate Democrats have already said they have no plans to consider the repeal. Several portions of the health care law took effect on Saturday, including one that provides discounts to Medicare beneficiaries for the purchase of prescription drugs. In addition, copays on preventive care are now prohibited, and health insurers must spend a higher percentage of the cost of premiums on actual medical care. President Obama is considering naming J.P. Morgan executive William Daley to become his new chief of staff, replacing Rahm Emanuel, who resigned last year. Daley is the brother of Chicago Mayor Richard Daley. He served as Commerce Secretary under President Clinton and played a key role in pushing NAFTA, the North American Free Trade Agreement. Daley's now the Midwest chair of J.P. Morgan Chase and a board member of the pharmaceutical giant Merck. Meanwhile, Obama's 2008 campaign manager, David Plouffe, is set to replace David Axelrod as the president's senior political advisor. Outgoing California Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger is coming under criticism for reducing the prison term of the son of former Assembly Speaker Fabian Nunez. In 2008, Esteban Nunez was sentenced to 16 years in prison after pleading guilty to voluntary manslaughter and assault with a deadly weapon for his role in a 2008 drunken brawl that led to the death of Luis Santos. In his last day in office, Schwarzenegger shortened Esteban Nunez's sentence to 7 years. Meanwhile, Jerry Brown was sworn in as California's new governor Monday. In his inaugural speech, Brown said he would oversee a review that could result in government workers losing some of their benefits and pensions.
The budget I present next week will be painful, but it will be an honest budget. The items of spending will be matched with available tax revenues, and specific proposals will be offered to realign key functions that are currently spread between state and local government in ways that are complex, confusing, and inefficient. My goal is to achieve greater accountability and reduce the historic shifting of responsibility back and forth from one level of government to another. The plan represents my best understanding of our real dilemmas and possibilities. It's a tough budget for tough times.
Here in New York, the state's new governor, Andrew Cuomo, is preparing to call for a one-year salary freeze for state workers. The moves by Jerry Brown and Andrew Cuomo are seen as part of a growing push across the country to limit the power of labor unions, particularly those representing government workers. The New York Times reports Republican lawmakers in Indiana, Maine, Missouri, and 7 other states plan to introduce legislation that would bar private sector unions from forcing workers they represent to pay dues or fees, reducing the flow of funds into union treasuries. In Ohio, the new Republican governor, John Kasich, wants to ban strikes by public school teachers. Wisconsin's new governor, Scott Walker, is threatening to take away government workers' right to form unions and bargain contracts. A new survey from CBS News' 60 Minutes shows a vast majority of Americans support raising taxes on the wealthy or cutting military spending to help balance the national budget. 61% of respondents said they preferred new taxes on the rich. 20% backed cuts to military spending. Just 4% said they would cut Medicare, and just 3% said they want to cut Social Security. In international news, Iran has offered to invite representatives from Russia, China, Egypt, and the European Union to visit its nuclear facilities in a move to resolve the dispute over Iran's nuclear program. Foreign Ministry spokesman Ramin Mehmanparast announced the offer.
The new move of inviting ambassadors of different countries to visit our nuclear facilities has once again shown the goodwill of our country regarding cooperation and peaceful activities.
The Obama administration's dismissed Iran's offer and called on Iran to grant greater access to the International Atomic Energy Agency. The Norwegian newspaper Aftenposten is claiming it has come into possession of all the U.S. diplomatic cables obtained by WikiLeaks in a report on one newly released cable. The paper reveals Israeli Chief Staff Gabi Ashkenazi told a U.S. congressional delegation a little over a year ago that the Israeli military is forging ahead at full speed with preparations for a new war in the Middle East. The paper says the cables quote Ashkenazi saying, quote, "I'm preparing the Israeli army for a major war since it's easier to scale down to a smaller operation than to do the opposite." ProPublica is reporting the Obama administration is planning to reject congressional efforts to limit the president's options on Guantanamo, setting the stage for a confrontation between the president and the new Congress. The Guantanamo provisions, which include limits on where and how prisoners can be tried, were attached to a spending bill for military pay and benefits approved by Congress late last year. Some administration officials are recommending Obama sign the spending bill and then issue a signing statement challenging at least some of the Guantanamo provisions as intrusions on his constitutional authority. In business news, Goldman Sachs has taken an ownership stake in Facebook by investing $450 million in the company. The New York Times reports the move will help Facebook stay a privately held company, thus remaining free of government regulation and from the volatility of Wall Street. The deal may be scrutinized by the Securities and Exchange Commission. Just last month, the SEC launched a probe into the surge in trading shares of privately held Internet companies. And the group Psychologists for Social Responsibility has written a letter to Defense Secretary Robert Gates protesting the military's treatment of Bradley Manning, the Army private accused of leaking classified documents to WikiLeaks. Manning's been held in solitary confinement at the Marine Corps brig at Quantico, Virginia, since July. The group accused the military of holding Manning in needlessly brutal conditions. And those are some of the headlines. This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, The War and Peace Report. I'm Amy